Hello everyone. We're gonna get started in a few minutes. Just gonna give some time to let people get into the chat. And if you're watching, let me know you're here. Good to see so many people joining from all over the world. All right, let's get started. Welcome to the stream, guys. It is Thursday, June 25th. It's 9:34 in the morning here. And I just got Stutter Edit 2 from Isotope. They sent it to me just to try out, just to share with my audience. And yeah, I played with it a little bit yesterday, and I really liked it. And I thought it would be a good thing to just play around with and learn together with you guys on a stream. This is probably going to be a quick stream. This is not going to be a review or a tutorial. Just kind of exploring it together. And if you like it, there's a link in the description that you can purchase it for. It's on sale right now. A little bit of that money will go to supporting the Reaper blog. I think that's it as far as the pre-ramble goes. Thanks again for joining the live stream, and let's try to have some fun. So, Stutter Edit 2 from Isotope. This just came out. I think yesterday was the launch day. Maybe it was earlier in the week, but yeah, it's a brand new plugin. It's designed by, or it was the idea of the electronic producer BT, and Stutter Edit, the original one, came out 10 years ago. So a lot of development time went into this new update, and I gotta say it's really fantastic. It's incredibly deep in what you can do with it. But let me just give you a kind of a quick demo of what it sounds like with some of the presets that it comes with. So there's lots of stutter effects, lots of buffer effects, lots of multi effects, tape stops, and stuff like that. Really cool plugin. So this, where do we start with this? Let's start with how it's actually routed in here. So I've got this on the drum bus. So it's only processing the drums, and it's a MIDI controlled plugin. So you need to assign a MIDI controller to the track. So let's start off here with that. So I've got a folder with some drum samples feeding into it, just audio files. My MIDI input is on just all MIDI. Track is record enabled and monitor enabled, and then the plugin's on the track. So as I play different keys, which are marked here in the preset manager thing, it's actually different like presets load, and they're different combinations of all the stutter and buffer and distortion, flanger, phaser, multi-effects. Each one of them has different like sequencers and envelopes and stuff like that built in. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm very new to this. I've only had it a day, haven't watched any tutorials. I kind of just turned it on, figured out the routing, and then played around with it. I haven't even like really looked at any of the effects. So I think there is one really specific Reaper thing that people need to know about with this. When you use this on a folder, or if you have it on the master track or something like that, all of the tracks that have MIDI on it are going to feed into this plugin unless you take some kind of precautions. If you have this on a folder, any of the child tracks that have MIDI on them will be sending their MIDI to the folder track, and that will mix in with your keyboard input. So that gets really tricky. You need to use a plugin to stop any MIDI after any virtual instruments. So let's say I have the Loop Cloud Play plugin inside the drum folder, and this has some MIDI on it. Right? So if I turn off this JS plugin, you can see Stutter Edit is changing the presets along with the bass notes, and that's not what I want. So I just have this little JS plugin in here called MIDI Eater. Here's the code. It's not really doing anything. It's just basically stopping any MIDI from leaving this track. So the instrument still gets the MIDI because the MIDI item comes before the effects chain, but the last thing in the effects chain is this MIDI Eater. I can't put this before Stutter Edit because then the keyboard wouldn't trigger it. So yeah, I think that's a very specific Reaper thing. If you could route this another way. You can make a bus track instead of a folder track, send all of your tracks into it that you want to run through Stutter Edit. I think this kind of sounds the best using it as kind of a master effects. So here, let's just go through another one of the sound banks. So here's the effects browser. There's various factory banks. I've been liking the BT ones, the New World Bank too. Let's just go through some of these. All right, let's just take a look at this one for a second, because I don't even understand exactly what's going on here, but there's different like sequence lengths, and I'm not sure how these two graphs here, the key, I don't know. I'm gonna have to read the manual at some point, but let's just try to fumble our way through this and learn it. So there's so many effects in here, and all these combinations of effects with modulation built in and sequencing, and I don't even know where to start with building something from scratch with it. So for these sorts of effects, I think this is well worth it. Like if you need to have these sorts of effects, I don't know of any easy way to do that sort of thing. Coming from like a rock mixing background, it's like this is all completely alien to me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if this is a cool plugin, if this is something you will get, if it seems worth it for the money, that kind of thing. Give me some feedback. And let me know where you want to go next with this demo. We're not going to spend a lot of time. I have maybe half an hour or so to do a stream today. So, let's try to kind of go through this and figure out what's happening. So, what key was that? This one. So if it wasn't clear, the effect only runs when I hit the key. Some questions about hard to read the interface. It does seem a bit dark. You can resize it, which is nice. This is huge on my screen, but I think it's probably better for the stream if I resize this. All right. Right, so what is even... Mage Prometheus says the plugin processes the audio. Being fed into it is controlled by the MIDI note codes. Yes, exactly. So I'm playing a different MIDI note on my keyboard. It's playing a different, what they call gesture bank. And essentially like each of these is a set of parameters for all of the effects and the stutters and the master section all at once. Yeah, there are other plugins like this. So someone mentioned Live Cut. What is there? There's Artillery from, I can't remember the name of the company, but there are other plugins like this for sure. This is just the the latest and greatest version of this sort of thing, and it's really made for kind of live performance of things and all these crazy effects that would just take ages to do manually and to find all these effects and combine them together. So it's kind of like I showed the Biome plugin a while ago in a video. It's kind of like that, how crazy that is and what amazing sounds you can get from that. But then there's the entire keyboard that you can trigger these tempo synced effects. So another cool thing for us Reaper users, if you hit this play mode button, it detects that it's in Reaper and actually gives you a little tutorial for this. So in MIDI mode, effects are triggered by the MIDI, and in auto mode, it will automatically activate the gesture when the playback starts. So I think it's just neat that they put in this little tutorial built in to here. So auto mode is if you want kind of one preset to be active all the time. And so if you're using stutter edit on an aux track, let's say, you could control, let's say you have a fader sending into that track and it stutters that, and you want that on auto mode. But if you want these tempo synced, MIDI controlled things, then yeah, MIDI mode. It does seem to move between presets really fast without pops and clicks. It plays one preset at a time, and the last touched key follows. I'm not sure if these. Okay, so these are set on like 1 bar. I could probably change this to a quarter note, and it's going to change much faster. Actually, it changed it back, so that's part of the preset. So I think a little bit of pops and clicks is okay, but I guess let's check the wow, that's surprising. CPU and latency on this. See that? 0.1 and 0 samples. So it's 0 latency. That was kind of I didn't expect that. I thought there would be a little bit of latency or something, like everything's delayed by the same amount. So yeah, they're doing something really cool with being able to have such a powerful processor without any latency, without any pops and clicks turning on and off effects so quickly and all that. Even just looking at the distort module, let's actually just make a new bank or something like that. Let's go to an unused octave. All right, so an empty one here, put on the distort. So there's this, so the wet dry mix has these range controls, and actually everything has these range controls which correspond to this this graph. And then you can change its tension by dragging in the line. And let's see, you can double click to go into a full editor, which also has preset curves. Looks like you can import curves from, I don't know, other users, I guess. You can reverse it. Really cool visual feedback with everything here. You can change the speed of this. This is just affecting the tone of the distortion. I'm just going through these randomly. You make a multi-band, or 2-band anyways. You can even change the crossover between the bands during the sequence. So that's the distortion. Are all the effects in the list on the left drag and drop? Yeah, you can change the order of them. Looks like a large learning curve to me. Yeah, for sure. It is pretty cool. But definitely deep. It's going to take some time to master it, but it does come with so many things to get started with. So different banks, cinematic trailers, experimental, master bus effects, vocal effects. Yeah, just tons of stuff. And I don't know how much like repetition there are, if there's different kind of what they call gestures in multiple folders, that sort of thing. But yeah, there's tons in here. All right, so let's listen to just the drums. I'm gonna mute the bass track, and let's do the lo-fi. I'm gonna put it on auto mode, so it's just on all the time. I don't have to hold that key in anymore. That's pretty cool. So this button here goes to the graph editor, where you can curve editor, I mean, not graph editor. Okay, I see. I was just thinking that it's a little awkward to just use the wet dry mix and have to like move them both the start and end points together, but this lock function moves them together, so you can just use that wet dry mix as kind of a standard effect control. All right, let's move on to the low pass. I guess most of these are going to be kind of, once you learn the controls, you know, learn the curve editor, learn this these functions. It's all pretty much the same, and if you're used to mixing or used to effects, then these are all, it's all probably going to come together pretty quickly. It's just kind of overwhelming to see it all at once, you know? All right, so if we're just using a normal sort of filter, just drag it like this with the lock on. Otherwise, we're setting a start and end point. The start and end points can overlap or flip. And the length of time it takes is set at the top. So we can actually automate the level of the preset here as well. Pretty sure that, yeah. So this section in the lower right is per gesture, per preset sort of thing. Per set of controls. it's really well thought out, I have to say. Really fun plugin. Tape stop effect is very cool. We want to flip the direction, easy as opening up the curve editor and hitting reverse, or else just flipping these around like that. So for anyone that came late to this, this is Stutter Edit 2. It's a new plugin from Isotope, 10 years after the release of the original Stutter Edit. And it's a MIDI-triggered multi-effect which syncs to your project and creates crazy stutter and buffer type effects. Edmund Moon asks, how significant is the difference between this and the first Stutter Edit, would you say? I actually never used the first Stutter Edit, so I can't really compare, but I have to say I like it. I like this one a lot. If anyone wants to check this out, get a demo or buy it, there's a link in the description of this video that will kick back some money back to me to support what I'm doing here on the Reaper blog. Very much appreciated if you buy anything. And if not, just happy to have you here. So what else? I don't have a lot of time today, guys, so we're gonna end it fairly soon, but I don't mind answering any questions you have or anything like that in the next couple of minutes. I think at first glance, it's intimidating because there's just so much kind of thrown at you at once. The temptation to go through just the presets and rely on that. I definitely felt that when I first opened it up. But there's a lot in here. But I think once you learn things like the curve editor, understand how this setting interacts with the other settings here, the sliders and things, it starts to fall into place really quickly. And if you already understand flangers, chorus, comb filters, things like that, you should learn it pretty quick. So I'm back to MIDI triggering. All right, let's, I'm gonna go through some other preset things here. Wrong one. Let's bring the bass back. Yeah, I'm just thinking about, like, if you wanted to do effects like this without this plugin, how time consuming it would be to automate every single parameter on multiple tracks, or even, you know, even just on one track, to automate all these sorts of crazy effects instantly. And again, this is like 0 CPU, 0 latency. Yeah, crazy. All right, guys, that is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll probably do more content on this. And if you missed the beginning, this is going to be on the channel, just as a saved live video. And yeah, thank you guys so much, and have a great day. See you guys later.